All right, folks, we're back. Come on, settle on in. Let's get ready to rumble for another harmonic pattern extravaganza, if you will. A whole lot of fun here in the crypto markets, but I think we kind of knew this was going to basically unfold now, not later. Here we are, 93,000 Bitcoin. What's next? How far are we really going to go? 4-hour chart, everybody. Check it out. Normally I would say a beautiful bullish crab pattern at 90,610. Normally I would say, okay, maybe a reaction trade. Maybe catch a type 1 up to target 1, but not today. No. No, come on. This is our assumption always, T1 to T1. Okay, that's a software, but no confirmation. And that's a very common situation. That's why we look for confirmation, and then we kind of tagged the hop level at 96.10 this morning. Last night, I guess. So here we go. And I think it's going to be a hell of a show because we've been talking about this for the last 4 weeks. Now we've kind of realized the bigger target. You're up here at the irregular shark to 5.0 that we all knew was still kind of looming there. Where is my shark to 5? The feeds and everything. Hold on. No, it was on Tether. The 5.0 93K. What feed? Binance feed? No. Where is it? I don't even know why that's not showing up. Maybe I've got it deselected, but that's the, there it is. And again, oh, it's the perpetual contract on Bitcoin. But here's the software in action, kids. I mean, seriously, what we have learned with harmonic pattern collection software and how to respect the targets for me has been, in the last 10 years, kind of night and day. Not kind of, definitely night and day. And I'm going to get to my 30-second rant here in a second, but guys, I just think about what happened here with 93,200 retest for the last 4 weeks. Maybe a little longer, but 4 weeks for sure, especially after the big dump. Again, we're like, hey, this is kind of an irregular shark pattern, but I think we're going to have to respect that it wants the type 1. 93,208. So this is why I do what I do. And it's all in the software. Okay, that's where to get it. And as much of an educational tool, because hey, we're going to spot way more opportunities than we're ever going to hit. And that's not our job to get everything. Our job is to define direction within a risk tolerance and have some idea where the hell it's going. And I think this test at 93,208 over the last month especially, we put 4 of the 5 pieces together, and we knew. So, everybody that's brand new here, this is the deal. Get on over, harmonictrader.com, get your 2-week free trial. Okay, you want to support me and the show and learn more about what we do, follow along what we hear. Okay, get the TradingView product. Send your username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. There's other platforms here, but TradingView has it all. And then we've got the new pattern profiler, which will be developed as we get more space on what we're able to do with TradingView into some bot statistical readout stuff. And that's available now, included with the product, which will not be next month after this. And again, let's just get back to the fact that we respected framework here, going type 1 to type 2, and 93,208 really, you could throw up some other retracements, and we will. But I can't get any more precise than that. And if you guys can get to that point in your own market strategic analysis, just ability to identify opportunities like that, okay, it's going to be the game changer, because then you have a clue. Start with a clue and develop your skills based on that initial few clues that you're able to just decipher here. But let's get to it. What's going on, chat? Great to see you guys. I'm on a roll, probably like 4 cups of coffee today. I was up early. I missed 2 big trades this morning. I caught one in the pre-market, and the open I was waiting for. I'll show you guys that on NASDAQ in a little bit. I was waiting for like 40 points higher on that crazy NASDAQ move. But all good. I think Bitcoin, everybody's kind of chomping at the bit what to do here. Absolutely. But just really quick, it is the perpetual contract, and it's again not on every data feed. But this has been the pattern we've kind of reverted back to after the failure to get above 124. Especially with the breakdown, and then like 111 to 107 was the last ditch, and it just fail. Goodbye. So we'll get into that. Also, I do want to show you on the weekly for Bitcoin, guys. We're still not even oversold at HSI, which was the other premise of what we've talked about, where again, when we threw in the towel, because I was looking for that breakout August, September. Didn't materialize, kind of, imploded. And then I said, well, we're going to have to probably minimum get another weekly oversold like we were last April, earlier this April, and then you go back even last year, last summer, need a weekly dot. Like if we were ever going to get that blow off capitulation cycle to our higher targets, it's going to have to come at the expense of this is still going to be the move, and people are going to say it's Bitcoin. I'm going to buy here, whatever. It's not there, and in fact, the possibilities are lower, much lower if nothing develops down here. I would think, and let's just take this range. This whole range is at stake. Go back to April, okay, and just XABCD. What that is kind of a shark formation because it's a failed breakout high. It went above the normal high. But even more so, the failure up here, it's a 113. I mentioned this, I think, a week or two ago. I maybe really pounded on it last week, the whole concept of harmonic impulse wave. You have a failed breakout, and then it's like a throwdown mid here is like 82. So hopefully we bounce at 93 here, but I would expect it to be short-lived. And again, I think the bigger signal to come here, if we get some kind of reaction on Bitcoin, it's probably going to be pretty quickly. That could come at like 94 and change, 95. Not there yet on the 4-hour chart. So looking for Bitcoin not to recover much. Okay, directionally, longer term, the thing that started 6 weeks ago or more in earnest is still continuing, and there's, we don't have any kind of constructive potential turnaround point until lower prices. So that's the deal. Final thought here. Okay, and again, it's not I'm not wishing for this to go down. I'm looking for what are next level harmonic pattern possibilities. In the same way, after the breakdown, and just said, look, this is terrible price action for any kind of continuation, if not needing to tag 93,208. Okay, what does crypto love to do with the harmonic patterns, guys? Loves to go type 1, which this still is a type 1, I would say, to even target 2. And that's, we start tracing out lower levels where it's not just me. I think everybody's going to be looking at the whole, just say, okay, April to September was fluff. How much fluff is that going to be? Because we want to retrace it. Like all of these. And, again, the whole, the other point that I have said is I thought this cycle would be over by end of the year, early January for sure. And again, we're kind of like, we're not in a full-blown correction in terms of the markets just yet, but you're starting to see the early signs after we hit targets. And this stuff can take weeks to unfold. I think that's the biggest challenge for most people. Putting it in your brain, like, hey, this thing really topped out 6 weeks ago. And if we want to be, really look at it, it was midsummer that Bitcoin was done and failed it. I mean, it just really surprised. And it also kind of breaks the 3618, 2618 extreme harmonic tradition cycle to cycle. Bitcoin's like this. Let me get a good monthly chart, all-time index here. No. Let's do this one. Okay, I don't want to show that chart just yet. Although that was a good chart. Yeah, that's got to. I'll come back to that. That's a crab pattern. That what I'm talking about is if we're looking at something like the whole 3618 assumption, which is what we've been assessing as the repeated ratio of the last two cycles. So there, and then back down, and then another up here was supposed to be at 3618, but it's in that 1618 1902 category, and this is really like up here. The prior cycle, you can't really see it, obviously, because it was so much more, but that was still extreme harmonic expansion. I mean, way beyond a 3618, but doesn't matter. From the way that we look at the framework, there was the 3618 and just, 68. I don't use any ratio beyond a 3618 because usually beyond a 3618, it's about the same time and you were retesting a 3618. 3618 was our top end, looked like 4 months sideways and then a breakdown is, you don't need more than 4 bars like that. 1618 is the 1025 level, guys. 1902, as you know, that was our top end at 111. So what? So what? It really doesn't matter. We just got to get it right. Got to get it right. Okay? And what's the next right call? Larger retracements. So again, if that was a 1618, it should do a 382. That would be a minimum kind of all-time off the cycle low. Cycle to cycle wouldn't be the first time, and you're starting to see numbers that are still like 10K lower from where we are. Final consideration on Bitcoin, because I'm beating this to death, but I'm all about the levels. You've got to have levels. Too much narrative. A lot of it's entertainment, but man, without concrete levels of understanding what are the price action possibilities, I mean, you can buy and hold and just ignore. But for me, as somebody that actively involved with the markets, I'm gonna want to be able to avoid 30-40% corrections if necessary. And Bitcoin's back here, straight out pattern levels. What was the last bullish pattern? It was the same one back in April where we nailed it at 75, 76K. And what I'm thinking here is that's probably got to get retested. And we kind of go back, retrace April, and then you're back into this range. So it's not really 83 or 84. It's last harmonic pattern is there, 75. Okay, beyond that, I'm not going to say anything. But I don't think it's that big for Bitcoin and what it's done historically. It wouldn't be out of the context of really what's possible. But I'm also a big believer in stair-step kind of price action. So 93, we're here and now. Can we get some kind of like bounce and then down to these nether regions? Would we bounce back up? All depends on confirmation down here. So I would love to get some kind of counter rally off of that 93K. I just, check it out though. And here's again another reason why I use indicators and why I firmly believe in my harmonic indicators, because we're trying to determine direction and extreme levels of overbought, oversold. And this is not even close to being oversold. I would actually argue this, guys, and those of you and software owners, I bring your attention to this. Okay, HSI has turned down since the prior signal the fact that we do not have an oversold reading. We dip down one more time, and that's the way it's shaping up this week into probably Thanksgiving. That's going to be a nasty task. That's how you get down to those lower numbers. Sorry. What's up, Justin? Hey, David, what's happening? Jason, KG, Chipper, Flipper, what's going on, chat? Great to see you guys. I'm just riffing because I really want to get this, from a harmonic perspective, give you guys the goods and then the update because that's what we've been doing here. So, first of all, let me just say again, repeat, go off the 4 hour time frame. Can we survive this? We do have a really fat pattern where we could see some kind of a bounce here. And I mean over like the next day or two, but I'm looking more like what's going to happen by first week of December and what kind of monthly candle will Bitcoin give us? Of we had kind of a yellow dot as well on the monthly, but it's more like, will this be a follow through for the first time? Okay, like you get one ugly candle or you one breakdown candle. Hold on, that's not right. Looks like this. Then the follow through, I think everybody would throw in the towel. It's a similar kind of a situation. You haven't cracked the trend since 2022. I mean, since bottoming down here, it's been an amazing ride. So you have to see for overall price action, if we know that our numbers are probably more like down here, what's the likelihood of that does break down? Okay, it really, we're building an argument. We haven't liked the argument for 4 weeks or more. Hey, I think that's how you end it. And you ended it at a 1618, which is I wouldn't say, you're suffering from a case of diminishing returns over time, but that certainly is the first time. You didn't do an extreme move. And I think that matters in terms of the long-term prognosis of whatever Bitcoin's going to do. So there you go. We look at anything else crypto-wise because we have just destroyed Bitcoin. But we'll stay on it. Again, I just think there's going to be probably the next big opportunity after it bounces to sell will probably be as large as what just happened from September. And let me just say Ethereum. Why not just kind of shoot through a few of these? Ethereum. That's not. I don't want I want a chart. There you go. Ethereum's the same thing, and I said that last time. That Ethereum's 3K retest. We have patterns here sitting right at the hop. It's not really. There's nothing there yet, and we've been looking for that return phase really since that type 1, the T1 registered. It's like this. Don't even the harmonic pattern framework, and sometimes these can be phenomenal shorts. You get a bat pattern that has a real nasty quick reaction, hits target 1, and it'll generate, software will kick it out, and that becomes stiff resistance because it has to retest. Same kind of a thing. All right, so we see that return phase all the time. And if it's really weak, you'll produce no confirmation and just keep going. Hop level saving it for now at 31.28. Target 2, 26.85 is probably another situation where we have a type 1 pattern going to target 2. Inevitably. Last thing, and I think I mentioned this, I have not liked Ethereum the whole time. I thought about it. Honestly, I was like really suffering from FOMO at 4,700. Like, did I miss this? And then we generated the crap. I was like, all right, we'll get it. We'll get something when it checks back. We hit target, never got confirmation. So likely retesting April patterns, which is probably the theme here of the bigger numbers or stuff like that. So if you guys are working with the software, pull up the pattern, and and if you got a pattern looking left from April, it's probably going to get hit. Absolutely, Global. So come on in. Welcome to the show, Global. So Global saying a few months ago, I was saying 160. Definitely. And then 4 weeks ago on the breakdown, I said we violate 107, we're going to 93. And check out the videos if you haven't seen them. 150 could not have been clearer. And I what I've been really clear about, it was that breakdown broke structure. It broke harmonic structure. So, and I'm not even clicking on BC. So I don't want to start in the chat. Okay, super clear. Don't confuse people. Yeah, and I made the change. You guys know I shifted 5 weeks ago or more, and been saying 93, and it's even on X. And that's why we do what we do. Okay, you guys follow along because I'm sharing the experience, so you guys reinforce harmonic pattern framework and how to read it. Sometimes the reads are tricky. They are, but that's why we're here. And I think everybody that kind of has the harmonic light bulb go on in their life, they realize, yeah, now I can go to the market and I can look at price action and trend and have a clue of what's going on and where it's going to go. Solana, that pattern getting generated off of 140, but it's still the weekly. And this is another one where it's pure framework, type 2 to target 2. Okay, so you might have a little bounce here, just like Bitcoin, but I'm going to go type 2, target 2, 105 minimum. I'm not going to go much past like I'm not. I don't want to be a doomsayer and be like, okay, this is. I alluded to some targets in my private group. We talked about possibilities. Yes, what we have been talking about on Solana for the last 5 weeks and getting to 105, and we're talking at like 175. It is a lot of room to fall. It's still from 140 to 105, a lot of room to fall. Want to be clear. I'm not crazy about it either. I'm not like because I think this weekly deep crab that generated at the all-time retest is a bigger deal now with inability to kind of crack it. One or two more on the crypto. I'm definitely killing it today with, just repeating myself on what I'm saying about Bitcoin, but we hit our major target. Okay, and it's a big deal, and it's doing things that need to be emphasized. Litecoin, sure. What's up, KG? Welcome. It's like this. It's a type 2 bat. Even all that zigzag stuff, it's still 70 is your support. Okay, that type 2 Gartley has to happen. That's how I would look at it on a weekly basis. And if anything, it's in all of that insane kind of up and down. You did a type 2. Where's the ideal reversal trade is here, $70. Get to 70, okay, and then return it back up at a later date, at a much later date. Now, I'm more concerned with how quickly that gets back to 70. Okay, so Litecoin is it's got a great base to it. It's it's better. longer term than a lot of these, but when is it going to go? When is it not going to get rejected by a 6 month or 1 year high and do something like what we saw in Zcash, which Zcash, I posted something in my group right before I started here and it exploded off of it. But here's Zcash. That was supposed to be my one for the cycle. Let it go. Zcash had patterns. Looking left, all the way down here. And so, get back here. There you go. It was, yeah, there. That's what it was. It had patterns at 34 to 22 area. Okay, in my opinion, you should have had at least 20 Zcash style top 100 crypto do some kind of insane move if liquidity was really there. And I think Zcash is probably going to be the last one to fall at this point because people are, they're going to probably ape in at what Zcash has right now. I think if you're a crypto trader looking for a long, nice crab pattern down there at 570, the hourly is a little bit better. It's like this. Where's the hourly chart? There you go. Butterfly, bat, okay, where 573, it's a little late. I think it's a little late. Maybe if you came back to 600, but you would be playing that return trade where you get to 655. That's the only one I would even, I think it's worth it. Everything else is just popped and rolled and popped and rolled. Unless you got Horizon. That's a privacy coin, right? Is that why? Nice pattern. Here you go. Okay, that's something. Let me show you guys one way that I've been looking for setups off of a pattern that might really give you a move is not only to wait for confirmation like that. All right, bat pattern on horizon at 1336. Okay, not bad. Remember what we talked about in that special strategy session. All right, we have harmonic patterns, but the harmonic trade opportunity, there's the harmonic pattern. The harmonic trade opportunity is at these levels, retesting. But what happened on this zone and horizon, I know I'm still following. I'm still kind of got my ear to the crypto Twitter to see what people are talking about. I did hear that was moving. But maybe it's a better opportunity to look for secondary confirmation at a higher level, like that. You got the yellow dot. That's our primary trigger. I know there's other things here, but you guys see where the confirmation signals are after the pattern. This is not a type 1 because it didn't go to the target, but it's kind of like a secondary retest of XA with confirmation. That matters. And I think it speaks to a point of if you're looking for opportunities in the crypto market, one, you got to have, they better be showing some real fine setups with confirmation and, obvious technical confirmation, something like that. I mean, Horizon 1784, target 1 off this pattern. All right, that's up at 1775 and that was already hit. You might be a type 1 to target 2 to $20. But start watching, okay? And if you don't get through 20, that's probably it. But nice pattern for sure. Yeah, that solar storm really is something, isn't it? A lot of stuff going on. A lot of astronomy news in the last month or two. And they, there's two guys. There was one guy that did studies with moon cycles, Chris Carolyn. He's a famous technician. And then there's that's been also kind of volatility readings on sun activity where, I mean, going back to like 60s and 70s, people have looked at this where when there's a solar storm or some high rate of solar flares, the market tends to have greater volatility. It's, I've seen it. Interesting kind of read type of thing. FET AI, guys. So guess what? Hourly basis. Is FET going to bust out of the zone? 4-hour time frame. Remember what I was saying about higher level of confirmation? FET maybe just put it in. So is this worth it? Because we have a big fat pattern down here. Secondary test. It pretty much would have to hold 26 cents on FET. And it is a type 1, target 1 to 50 if we can get out of the zone. What's going to change it? Well, monitor HSI like this. Not like that, like this. Okay. And then get above the 50. Just got to be, I think, extra cautious with all of these pop and roll. Even that 1-day craziness pop all the way back down. It might be worth a look. There's a few. I don't want to be completely trash all of this, but the weekly stuff also has big patterns. But remember what I was saying. You have a pattern, but where's the opportunity? Where's the real opportunity? The trade opportunity. In this one, the beginning of the year, you had confirmation. It ran right into a counter signal, back down for FET. Okay, now maybe you've got something, but I would be extra careful. Wait for, the kind of double confirmation I'm talking about. And not to mention, you'd want at least some kind of short-term positive crypto environment. It's not a bad idea, guys. It is the real world perspective I've had to kind of drill into my brain and still do every day. Okay, of how to fit yourself into what the framework is telling you and then demanding that price action. It really agrees with what is supposed to happen, and that takes bars, 3 to 5 bars. That's a weekly chart. You're week 2, maybe into week 3 now, for it to really happen. Otherwise, that could just go sideways. One or two more. HZen, Horizon. Is that the ETF? I'll get to the markets in a second. I wanted to kind of absolutely do a definitive. Yeah, I see that. Wanted to do a crypto like definitive update here, especially on a Tuesday. Yeah, we can get to Rivian in a second. A lot of stocks. I think we better get over and embrace the stocks, even on the downside. We'll get to that. Awesome. Probably, the thing that I'll highlight, last one, is others index, because that will probably take care of whatever else you're trying to look for. And it is structurally a type 2. You're 235. We're going to have to come in here because it is a T2. Now that crazy wick, whether that's legit or not, did retest it. But even no matter what, and I've said this, the thing that would matter is where's the confirmation, and that's going to be back down here. That's a weekly chart, by the way. Monthly is something on the others that, of all the things I've looked at, what has happened here in others is long term kind of difficult to really assess of how that can be bullish until we get something where possibly that's a C point of some matter or a full retrace. There's a lot of room here under this this edge that we're sitting on right now, and that's others. So a lot of these T coin, as I like to call them, S coins, they can still go lower. Is my point. And even the big ones that are remaining, like Cardano, is going to be my last FUD rant of the day. I said this last week, so it's not anything new. But I do think a 30-cent retest is just where this is shaping up. You got bigger patterns looking left on this, and even pretty sweet shark pattern that ended up being the defining limit, could never get above the target one, even though this was a type 2 here. You got there and then send it on back down. And the hop level on that shark is 30 cents. So if you're into Cardano or whatever, you're looking lower. After that same kind of assessment where software and they seem to be headed there like a magnet. We're going to get there. We will get there. And it just is a full-on 886 reset. Welcome daily. I'd say even weekly to resolve what this whole return move 1618 is all about. The 1618, that is the primary natural growth proportion metric in nature and in the markets. When we get it, you got to respect it. And what it does is it like a natural rest, kind of pausing phase. That's how we assess it. So take that, and follow along. Come back to me in like 30 days and see how we digest, because we can throw it forward to the right. We're in a 30-day corrective pause phase, the 10th of December, and something we talked about in the last week or so, and we're making progress there. I know we're going to get, if we got down there, that would be probably the healthiest thing for what has transpired since March, and would set us up with some really sweet swing opportunities. But it's not right now. It's not here yet. We've got some more work to do. Let's hope we bounce. The cues here, where we are at really some obvious technical levels, only going back to September, October. It's like an 886 retrace. Most people are just looking at this. Most people are just, they're looking at 600, hoping that 600 holds, because they know that everything under here is where the acceleration begins, and that's like under 590. Shoot the gap. So, if it hits the fan, the kind of the button release flush is, under 590 to that 540 target. Levels, guys, levels. It makes the decision framework a lot easier knowing where those levels are. That's the setup currently. Now, QQQ, been a nice drop, is hitting oversold right now, and that's on regular trading hours. We tag that like usually once every 6 weeks. Here. Each one of them was a continuation point, so let's see. But the one thing that hasn't happened yet, and I'll be looking for it, is dot confirmation. So get me not only the check back retest of that oversold area, but we would need some development. And there-ish, and then early October. Although my concern, and I said this on, what was it, on Fed AI with the crypto. This, if we get a dot and it basically forms under 590, it will be the first lower dot okay, since our low all the way down here. Just to be aware of it. If something larger is going to kind of fall out of bed here, it's under 590. Ding. So that's Q's. SPY. SPY is similar in terms of the difference of the index over the ETF. But it's like that. SPY just shy up here. Where's the exact? Like 593. Exact all-time high was 89. So we didn't hit that. Maybe, maybe I gotta. You got to get exact with this. I mean, that's. Let me hit the magnet. I thought that was clipped, but the number really does matter. It's, if you're going to measure high to low, even like that little bit of a difference by just like a sloppy plotting of the there you go, the price. Because you have to hit the number to trigger the event. Think of it like that. You got to hit the number. If I don't get a number to hit, happens a lot. It's a missed opportunity. You just let it go. Where was that? Yeah, exact number was like 593 something on the Qs, 593 and change. So not as ideal as the Qs, but we're oversold. Where can SPY go? Right now at 665. No confirmation until that comes out. Maybe into tomorrow we can end what has, starting to get a little serious. But that needs at least 2-3 bars. It's not going to happen until tomorrow. Maybe you probe it later today. And then finally, the daily's getting close. But much like what we had in August, we might have a couple more days. A little dip do and then turn around. All of that, like, not really even that big of a deal, but merely at the 886 off of October. That's it. Seems a lot worse than it is, but that's pretty common. A monthly or even a quarterly kind of 886 retest. Uh, Not a surprising phenomenon. Pullback, a lot like we were back in January, February. I would need to see some kind of oversold confirmation. There are a few things setting up, but we'll look at it. I'll take some of those stocks. Oh, yeah, why not? Really quick, guys, just kind of on a rant today. It's the coffee. Let's give away a 30-day package. Okay, HPC 30 for the first person is going to get you 30 days of the software. And you have any questions, again, hit me up on the Discord by using that link, and then everyone else get the free 2-week trial. HPC at sr-analyst.com. Send the TradingView username. You guys can try MetaTrader, eSignal, NinjaTrader, Sierra Charts. And then the final thing, final sales pitch is Black Friday. We already started it. And we do this once a year. So get your software updated or take this opportunity to purchase it with the code HPC30. All right, now's the time. And that's good till December 1 or so. Awesome. Cody, you win. Wayne, I just got my coffee. Thank you, though, buddy. Hit that blog entry, that other link that I just put in there. Not sure why that's not popping up as a live link, but you can get that. The TradingView license. Look, that includes the new pattern profiler. and I've mentioned that before as well. Current owners, you have to DM me, okay, and I'll include it. But after this month, it's not going to be included anymore. We're going to go through it for those that are still part of the community here. I mean, they're all part of the community, but you have to request it by the end of the month. Check out that link as well for working and getting it through my partner at Divergence Software. Any other questions, hit me up on the DM. All right. We'll come back to that. You guys want to look at a couple of individual stocks, the things like, LAC, all of those rare earths came back, right? Could be setting up for opportunity, a secondary opportunity. LAC's posting back down here at $5. Okay, another possibility, maybe. Remember, LAC was the monthly chart, so this is going to be a while. And how do you avoid the check back like that? I mean, it's one or two people asked me this, and I don't know, it was like a week or so ago, because a lot of them went through that, came all the way back down. If something, which this did, goes up, and it is like up 3-4x off the lows where we were looking at this, where $2.50, $3 to above 10 and can't continue, that's a management decision. I mean, you got to take something off. I mean, if you're still in it, there has to be at some point where, especially a move like that, okay, you're taking some profits. Now, this is a nice secondary opportunity because, again, it's at a higher low than the prior signals. Take a look. Here was the daily. This is LAC, and it's a good candidate for assessing speculative stocks like this because I think crypto or even speculative stocks should have a secondary confirmation. If it's a bullish pattern, we should have an initial low, which that was, but it was lower than the prior reading. You had a reaction, and then there's the 2 with confirmation. That's where things can happen. That's the kind of setup where, real things can happen. And aside from even the bigger weekly, monthly patterns. So that's a little strategy tidbit for everybody where, yes, a higher level dot, secondary kind of confirmation like that, it matters. I'm finding that that's a more reliable signal. LAC now is kind of a tertiary, a third or even fourth confirmation here around $5. Can we continue again, get back going? Yeah, I would look. The only thing I'd be looking at, final piece, which we've really been focusing on that to avoid fake outs, and sideways action, is should be above 50 because that happens before price moves. I mean, really moves. So LAC, nice kind of setup spot here, but got to continue. Let's look at one or two big tech, Mag 7, like Tesla. Again, where's the next opportunity on Tesla? Back at 404. And we've been talking about this as not only a lot on the weekly, but the daily itself. I think one of you guys asked me, like, how much time do we have to give Tesla if it's sideways? And I said, well, we have to give it the full 30 days. Okay, it was still sideways, no confirmation, so still suggests reaction. But I think it's uncanny that day 30 was the breakdown. And I use that strategy, that time window. It's just an approximation, but it relates to the minimum sample size of anything you look at. Want to analyze needs 30 sets of data, and it works great with patterns. So again, if you're in that 30 window and you're not sure, you have to give it that amount of time. Not easy, But in your mind, that's one of the things that kind of frames out against price, what should be happening. Tesla 372. Let's get there before we think about that. And even on the weekly, okay, with the beautiful type 2 we've had, target 1 is down a little lower, 340, and that for me, I'd be fine with that if we came all the way down there. I think it would be something where it's setting up for a great opportunity. But it's still rating again with a lot of these. If you're looking for an opportunity, not until we officially get oversold, daily or weekly. And then Tesla's doing flirting with the 50 right now. Okay, there's a bunch of these that had great moves, and some with like real perfect patterns, which is what we should be looking at. And I feel like we're back here in this February, March time frame where we're really aware of what has to happen to resolve the past 6 months of bullish behavior. We need to retrace. We need to digest the gains. However shallow or far that may go, we're not there yet. We haven't registered oversold. Couple more. Really? Let me know. Are we good, guys? Let me know. I was just looking back if you guys we got cut off. Couple more. TNDM. Tandem diabetes. Yeah, he actually sent that over. And look at all of that. That is a Mitch special. Software kicking out all the patterns between like 18 is probably that retracement number. A little bit lower. It's gone a bit far for me. But 18 at the XA level at 1838, 37, something to look at. And that's beautiful. Really got lots of patterns down there where at least minimum kind of retrace to target ones still a lot higher. That's pretty nice. Here's a big one that I really liked Oracle the whole time and still do. I'm going to assess what happens down here. We've got some pretty nice daily patterns. Shark, again, 212. Okay, Oracle, one of the big ones. Huge move. All right, never gave us the turnaround. I've been looking at that yellow dot since October, and we look at what happened with Amplified. We never got above the 50 level. And that's just basically held me off. But I'm looking now because it's either 212 or 204. But look at those patterns. It would be great if we could just come back, retest 210, and get sideways here. A couple more days. I really like this pattern. This is one of the sweetest daily setups. It is, by definition, a type 2. Off of this shark pattern, it's again, remember what I was saying about these looping patterns that kind of explode and can't follow through and they go, roll over, and they come back all the way? Yeah, that's a looping. Loop balling back down, but retest. So the T2 is right here, is here. I need confirmation. But that's a big one, and even a type 1 on here. Think of it this way. You got the prior shark, which is really a T2 target, like 256. The Gartley, has a T1 up here at 283. You're 220. I would be looking. We're going to get some kind of counter trend bounce. All right, it would be after the confirmation, and then we go. Maybe another couple hard days down, and then we get confirmation. But that literally just hit the hop level. That was Friday, which was, Not a great day. Again, it's just no reason to jump in over the weekend. But, maybe that's starting to look like something. The final big one, guys, and I'll take one or two more before I get out of here, but it's like this. Nvidia, time and time again, all right, has just blown people away. I'm looking at this butterfly, all right, and let's just address the butterfly first, where we put in a dot yesterday. Today's the retest of that area. Maybe today's the first day I would look at anything, but it's not above 50. Okay, thinking if you're thinking Nvidia is an opportunity, it's still early. I need to see this kind of stuff turn around. This is going to help us going forward as we try to finish whatever this retrace is. Signals are not there yet. You want that turning around. It's not a bad idea. It's probably a good idea to be thinking, okay, where's the next opportunity on Nvidia? I went through this last week, maybe the week before, and we are, like a lot of other things, we're respecting this 1618 1902 range, which is kind of like in that area. That's the 1902. There we are reacting. So if Nvidia got nasty, all right, let's say we do nothing over the next couple days, and we'll know, like, I think by Thursday we'll have a really clear idea of is it a deep retrace or not. But it was almost 1902 to the point. It's another one of these 1618 382 framework, which Nvidia, gets you. Next jump on point is like 165, not 185. That would be ideal. And let's demand ideal. Really. NASDAQ trying to turn around right now. Let's just kind of hop over there. I'll look at one or two more, but let's take a peek. I'm going to leave you guys with something on Bitcoin I was kind of saving for last. 5 minute, where are we? Yeah, the 5 minute, okay, ooh, nice. Oh, this is perfect. So NQ trying to come off of that big bat pattern. I'm going to leave this with you guys because I'm going to go see if we can get this in the next 20, 30 minutes. We have a counter HSI signal right now. The pattern had a reaction, just like a lot like the first time. This will be a second one, diamond dot kind of a thing. The trigger is at 776. Current high is of this bar, literally. Still have 2.5 minutes. Is 803. All right. Normally I'd be thinking the 76 plus 10 more. A day like today, you probably want to give it 20. Okay. But what I'm saying is this really could be an ideal short. It's not there yet, but it's literally off of that trigger of the dot diamond. One of the primary indicator strategies that I use. We call it HSI checkback of this area. The final piece, okay, that I'm looking for, and this is why it might be another bar or two. Middle amplified RSI is not under the 50. Okay, so we're looking for this to happen first before we can get the real price acceleration. It's close. It's definitely close. Keep an eye on that. Again, we're about to go into this bar. Yeah, getting rejected right off of there. And I would look for the retest back into the zone. That trigger, as I'm talking, that just rejected 30 points. But I'm not concerned. This is for the larger day. You're looking for this thing, I think, XA retest at 700 wouldn't be a bad spot. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But, I'm thinking like this for the rest of the day. If we can roll down under that 50, take it back into here, under 700. Little futures thing for futures traders. But that's the That's really also the importance of looking for confirmation. So Nasdaq right now, again, we're off 115. We're swinging 40 points at a clip. The SPY has an M pattern, a butterfly. What, on the 5 minute? We got to start doing more intraday like that. SPY's like this, 5 minute. Nice one. Yeah, but as a good example, I have it as a bat. I don't know. Make sure you've got RTH. Okay, that's regular trading hours versus including extended hours. I think the patterns on RTH are more powerful, but it is a pattern, and the last confirmation you have is definitely popping up some bearish signal right there. That's at like 665. And again, really nice pattern, but where's the opportunity? Where's the trade opportunity? Because even on the initial test, and I probably should go over little strategies like this. We've done it before, but highlight it more so people realize that, look, the software kicked out the pattern, but where's your confirmation? It's all the way down here. It blew the zone. And in fact, we hit the zone and we have a bearish confirmation that develops. You'd simply avoid the trade. Step away. If you wanted to take that trade down there, I don't recommend it, but you will see reactions like that. And that's how you should treat them, like a simple reaction back up. And this has ping-ponged up to overbought, back to oversold, now overbought again. Why not back down? But that's where you're really going to be able to not only pinpoint the opportunities, but avoid failed setups in advance. Again, that's the thing. It's probably the main reason if it's an intraday time scale or a long-term weekly time scale. That's the signals we're looking for. Couple more. Yeah, I mean, it's Echo Leaf. If you're DM me, okay? Everyone should have the purple diamond and the pattern profiler, guys. Let me just pop that up really quick. Again, if you have the software, you have to DM me in Discord. All right, and it's a basic. It is not refined. It's like it's just spitting out raw pattern data like T1 to T2, and that's it. And some of the results are not going to be great. You're going to say, well, look at some of these worst results. There's no optimization, and I want to be super clear on that. We're getting this indicator module established. We will be able to do a lot more here because one of the things that's happening is we're going to migrate over and get based off a trading view and be able to get more space for what we're allowed on the indicators. We are maxing it out as is, but you just get it now. That way it's easier to set up, and then after this month it will be an add-on because we'll have optimization patterns with confirmation, and even that HSI 5-minute trigger I was talking about on NQ. So be aware of that. Again, any questions, DM me in the Discord. Let's do one more 30-day package. Next person to type in HPC for you guys still hanging on. I'm going to probably go about like 5 more minutes, but again, get over to harmonictrader.com. Send your TradingView username to HPC at SR-analyst, and then they'll set you up the 30-day code right now, HPC30, and that's for all the platforms. Okay, and if you buy one of the Ninja, MetaTrader, Sierra, Charter, eSignal, you get 30% and you get TradingView at one price. Like, now is the time to do that. Any questions, you just get to me in Discord. One or two more, guys. I kind of want to catch the next 2 hours here. There you go. Hey, Parnell Sat, you are the winner. Okay, and please get over to the Discord. I need your full name, email address, and username. All right, there you go. There's the Discord. Um, Really quick, guys, before we get out, I want to show you gold and silver because these are two markets that after we get done this retrace, and I think it's going to be pretty soon, we're going to want to take advantage of it. Gold 4150. That's still the number. All right. But we have this daily HSI dot, that level is 39.86, and we haven't hit it yet. Got really close. It is against this deep crab pattern. Okay. Now we have first confirmation on gold, and I'm looking for a retest either to that 38. I'm real confident like the 39.80. We'll see that. We'll see a dip under 4K. If we were to get a bigger dump to 36.50, that's the spot. Okay. I know it seems like it's a ways, but structurally, within all of what's happened in the last couple of years, this is going to be a massive continuation, but it's lower. It's not yet. Same can be said on silver. And I think silver is going to be one where we get through this retracement. All of that, around 47-ish. We have been rejected a second time at 43. And there's beautiful harmonic action, all-time 886. That's why I'm so focused on it. We're overbought at the moment, be clear. What I'm thinking is this is a type 1. Okay, we get the reaction. And if gold and silver are going to be kind of the hard asset plays for the next few years, it will be after this correction and then they will go. Gold, I think, still is something that will clip 5K probably next year or so. Silver's got bigger possibilities, but we have to digest this current retrace, current retest, check back on HSI. I think silver is really the one to pay attention to. The other kind of thought is that these clear historic prior cycle resistance, you're not going to be looking back. So silver come into 40, 42-ish, and then start something that would be a more permanent run, 60, 75-ish. That's just the background kind of thought. It's not there yet. But the way it's set up, the way with gold going, and the true inflationary kind of hedge that will continue, gold's going to continue to dominate. All right, guys. My last thing that I wanted to show you. We started today with Bitcoin. I want to circle back. And I told you a little while ago, I think it was last month or maybe it was a week or so ago, that for me, there had to be a definitive trigger point to decide to go, I would not say just bearish, but what would trigger the larger correction? And the one thing that aside from the major extensions, the levels, okay, it's been about monitoring really hold on a second, monitoring this longer term amplified progress on the monthly chart. And that needed to hit the 50 level. And we hit the 50 level. It's not a straight off flush. So I want to be really clear about it. But it is the beginning. Okay. It's a starting point. At a minimum, what that means, okay, we're going to have sideways consolidation. And I think it's a 6 to 8 month precedent. The most likely thing would be a bounce. We hit this and we have a bounce. All right. Same way that we had here and back here in, that was November 19. And then you go back all the way here, 2018, every one of these, in 14, go back and look. But that was a big signal every instance where we hit that level, it sends Bitcoin into, at a minimum, a sideways consolidation, here. And I'm not saying it's a forever signal. I'm just saying next 6 months or so, this is going to put consolidation pressure. We can't be thinking about anything but having to resolve that by going through here. That was the 2022 January, and now here. So we have real signals and readings. That has been absolutely the bottom line of my argument. We got to 93K, great, not so great. Now I'm going to focus on what happens the next few weeks. Can we get a bounce off of here now before the larger acceleration? That's the only thing I'm focused on for Bitcoin. And if I'm wrong, it's from now. No, Scott, this is a long-term thing. You'll know if I'm wrong, but it's all the signals have been there. We just had to wait for that final 50 test. So those are the clues. Those are the signs we want to look for. Until that can all turn around, we're still in this retrace phase and will be for a while on that monthly chart. So that's what I have for today, guys. Again, appreciate it. The winners, you got to reach out to me on Discord. Everybody else, come on back on Thursday. You know what to do about the software. If you have it, get with the Black Friday program here. And any questions, DM me over in the Discord. Until then, I'll catch you guys on Thursday, 12:30. Have a great one. And as always, go get them.